We're joined now by Goldie Ghamari, Iranian human rights activist. Goldie, thanks so much for being with us on I24 News today. Iran's leadership does appear divided between those that are seeking a deal, reportedly Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, while hardliners in the IRGC, they're demanding continued confrontation. So how can a deal be reached if the leadership is still so fractured?
Well, I just want to make something very clear. There's really no difference between the moderates and the hardliners. A Nazi is a Nazi is a Nazi. They're all terrorists. The difference here is that Araghchi, he's more of a pragmatist, I guess you could say. So he sees the writing on the wall. He understands that if it continues, the situation continues, the Islamic regime will be pretty much destroyed. And so he's trying to, figure out a way to survive. Meanwhile, those that are, those elements that are more crazier, the hardliners, they just want to continue this jihad against Israel and the United States. Now, keep in mind, for the last 47 years, the Islamic regime has been constantly saying that they're never going to negotiate with, the great Satan or the little Satan, that they are the enemy and they're always going to wage war. So this division is also coming from the fact that many of the supporters of the Islamic regime, that's about 5% of the Iranian population, they truly believe that they actually have the military capability to destroy the United States and Israel, which is absolutely insane. So that's sort of where the internal fighting is coming from. But ultimately, no deal is going to be made because that would be pretty much against what the Islamic regime stands for, which is this whole concept of death to America and death to Israel.
Well, how much pressure is the regime facing internally after these 5 months of war?
They're facing a lot of pressure. I mean, so the day that Khamenei was exterminated by Israel and the United States on February 28, that was pretty much the beginning of the end for the Islamic regime because, it is a totalitarian dictatorship. And oftentimes these systems, they're only as strong as the leader. Now that the leader is gone, now we're seeing these internal factions fighting even more. They're calling one another out in the open. You have one division, one faction calling the other faction traitors. I've shared footage on my YouTube channel of Islamic regime supporters chasing down Araghchi during Khamenei's funeral, chanting for his head. So there's a lot of infighting right now where it's kind of like the Titanic where it's sinking, but because the system is so big, unless you know where to look for the signs, it's difficult to see, but the Islamic regime is definitely collapsing internally.
What if there is a deal that's reached, an agreement that focuses on Hormuz and the nuclear program, like the U.S. president has said? What happens then to human rights, political prisoners, the regime's crackdown on dissent? Are those issues simply left out of any deal that is likely to come?
Well, I mean, the terms of the deal don't include any aspect of human rights. And so that is definitely a concern for the Iranian people and, of course, all of us, because even now, the Islamic regime is continuing to execute innocent young Iranians every day. Just yesterday, they hanged another 20-year-old Iranian man. His name was Arvin. He was one of the January 8 and 9 protesters. They executed him on the crime of muharebe, which is waging war against Allah. So all of these executions and, all the human rights violations are continuing. In fact, they're getting even worse because as the Islamic regime feels more threatened and feels more weak, they're going to attack the Iranian people even more because they're not afraid of the United States or Israel. They're afraid of the Iranian people because they know that they're illegitimate. They know the Iranian people want to overthrow them. And that's why, His Royal Highness Reza Pahlavi, the Crown Prince of Iran, he has said, don't make a deal with the Islamic regime, stand with the Iranian people and allow us to reclaim our country.
Goldie Ghamari, some great perspective on what's actually happening inside Iran right now. Thanks so much for being with us on I24 News.
Thank you so much for having me.